Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hey, We're Talking. It's me, Scotty D. We got Derek Tant and Bob Peel in the house.
Hello.
Hello.
Why is it that somehow you always do something that makes me laugh? I don't know what it is. What do you
He's
do?
a funny guy.
He is. He's a funny guy. Oh, if you could hear the stories before the show starts from Derek. Man, he's got some good ones. He does.
Yeah, we can't discuss a lot of those on air.
I wish we could, man. We'd have to
we
change the
can't.
rating of the show for sure.
Okay.
And I'd have to change the stories because I don't want to get arrested
That's true. He
or
doesn't wanna-
fined.
He doesn't want to break his Hippocratic oath. Is that the oath that you're talking about? No, it's the patient confidentiality thing. What's that called?
HIPAA.
HIPAA. Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. HIPAA. I don't know.
I don't
And
think
I don't. And I don't even. I'm not even really breaking HIPAA when I'm talking to you guys. I just give you general stories. And
Right.
Yeah, it's not like you say people's names or this or that. It's not like we know them or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I've
you're
heard a
not-
lot of stories.
You're not.
I've heard a lot of stories from my wife for a long time. But of course, she never says names. She never says nothing. She never really tells me much information. Just, hey, that she had a experience with this patient or that she feels bad because a patient is sick and dying.
Why
in their,
are you
like,
making it?
in their
You're
20s.
bringing it down now, dude.
No. It's
I
just
gotta bring it
some
back
of the
up.
stories, some of the
Gangsters,
stories
what's up,
I've had to hear.
guys?
So what's up, gangsters?
No, do it right. Do your thing.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
I don't know why. That's the voice that pops into my
It
head every
is.
time I hear that.
It's because he sounds like that.
I just wonder how many of you listeners actually make some noise or laugh when that little thing comes on too. Because I don't know why. It just makes me go into this weird voice and just feel weird.
it's the soundbite for me that is probably my least favorite. and
That's
it's
the one you
least
don't
engaging.
like?
Yeah, it's the least engaging for me.
Oh.
I get no reaction from that.
What about this one?
For fat dummies.
You like that one?
Of course, I have a special connection to Snake Diet guy.
Hey, fatty.
Yeah.
If we
Still
could
haven't
get
watched
him,
it.
we have to get him on the show.
time for
oh
a-
gosh, it's not for time for a Derek hot take.
Scott's getting a little
Trigger
you know,
happy.
excited
I
about
wasn't
the
looking. I wasn't looking at the buttons, and I accidentally was grabbing for it, and I hit the button. It was an accident. All right, so today, before we start the program, though, you know, one of the things we always talk about.
coffee? Coffee?
We want to talk about Pneuma Coffee. Pneuma Coffee, Pneuma coffee.com. If you go there and you put in the coupon code HWT, you will get 20% off of your coffee. Chris Bean is a great dude. He makes some great coffee. He's actually giving away coffee right now. You might be able to still get in on his Pneuma Coffee channel on YouTube. Put in the coupon code HWT. He roasts the coffee himself. You'll actually see in that video he does it. So make sure you head over there to pneumacoffee.com, HWT, 20% off.
I'm making the coffee.
All right.
I
Today,
just got an order in.
did you really? What kind of coffee did you get?
Just his regular house blend.
Yeah,
it's
I
for
like that one.
a bag for me and a bag for the two winners of the
Oh,
giveaway I had on
that's
the
right.
channel.
All right. So we discussed talking about this. I don't know if we'll give some people some background on this. There was an HBO documentary that has come out and it has caused quite a stir. We're a few days behind because this happened last weekend. It's the HBO documentary Finding Neverland, which is about Michael Jackson, his Neverland Ranch, and people that have now come forward and admitted that they were molested by Michael Jackson. Now, this is something that if you grew up any time in Michael Jackson's major popularity, this was something that had been going on forever. He was multiple times, people came and said that he had been doing stuff with children. He paid them off a lot of times. Never convicted. So, Derek, you've actually watched some of this. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list, but you watched a good portion. You didn't watch a two-parter. It was like 4 hours. So you watched a good 3 hours worth of it. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, they probably could have pared it down to like an hour. All right. It's a little long.
It's
all
like,
right?
hey, he molested me. The end.
Yeah. You know, that's it. There's two fellas. They introduced their story. How they kind of came in contact with Michael Jackson. I think one of them was like a dancer, won a dance contest in Australia.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't really
Missed that.
I wasn't like fully engaged in every aspect of it. But yeah, they came into contact, and he showers the family with gifts. He's like, hey, well, he brings them in, charms the family, shows them, hey, welcome to my home. This is my life. And it just kind of shows like the grooming process, how Michael Jackson used his charm and his power and his money to kind of just seduce not just the children, but the whole family.
Yeah.
Just kind of brought them in, and then starts to, slowly isolate the kid and spend more time with him.
It's really weird because there are like high profile people like Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman, I believe, that were very close with Michael Jackson, and to this day just say, hey, nothing ever happened.
Right.
But you look at Neverland in particular, I mean, it's an amusement park. Like, this whole thing is just every single thing that a kid would be like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Disney World but Michael Jackson style.
Yeah, I mean, candy, popcorn, movie screens, all this stuff. I mean, animals and just everything a kid could want, he had there. And I think, again, going back to when we were growing up and we heard about this stuff, the thing that always struck me was, just like you're saying, Derek, the way that the families were I mean, they were basically suckered into this, because Michael Jackson, maybe people don't know this today, but he was, like, when people said king of pop, he was the biggest thing in the entire world.
Of course.
And all of a sudden, this guy brings you into his house, into this amusement park house, and showers you with gifts and is taking a liking to your children. You think, oh my gosh, my kids are friends with Michael Jackson. I can see how you would get intoxicated by that. But at the same time, you're like, what is happening? This is crazy.
Yep.
I wonder if there's going to be any.
It's a heavy subject. Sorry.
It is a tough subject. I just wonder if there's going to be any parents that actually come out and say, in this documentary, if some of the parents, like of these two individuals, are still around to actually say what they feel about it.
Yeah.
The mothers were both mothers were part of the interview process. They talked a lot.
I believe I heard something, not maybe in this documentary, but I heard somebody, actually, I think they were talking on like Joe Rogan's podcast, because he's been kind of covering some of this too, saying that a couple of the fathers actually committed suicide, that their children were molested by Michael Jackson. They committed suicide during all this because, I don't know, I don't know why you would do that, but it's kind of bizarre.
They're one of them in this documentary, and there was another one not covered by the documentary, but yeah, he was, he and the mother had been separated, and he was already like really depressed.
Okay.
And it was basically, the reality is that this kid was just the kid was himself was kind of, he had nowhere to turn. He was all this stuff was happening to him, and he didn't understand, didn't know how to process it, wasn't like horrified by it, but didn't necessarily like it.
Yeah.
And couldn't really talk to anybody about it. And when the allegations started happening in the legal process, Michael Jackson called on these guys to defend him.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yep.
And it kind of, I think it just made them distrust their own fathers.
Sure.
Just made them he just made them not trust any man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they couldn't really connect with his dad anymore, and then the dad, who was already struggling with depression, took his own life.
Wow. Well, so part of the reason that I wanted to talk about this, and that kind of lays the groundwork for this, because we've seen this with like Bill Cosby as well, and I'll explain this in a second, but I read an article and I shared it with you guys where there are radio stations now who are saying we're banning Michael Jackson's music from our radio station. And it's a weird thing. And I wanted to kind of talk about that because it's kind of the same thing with Bill Cosby. Like, I grew up loving Bill Cosby's comedy. Then all of a sudden you find out he's drugging women. I'm not laughing because I'm just saying you find out this guy's drugging women and having his way with them, like not just a few women, a bunch of women. And it's like, can you separate the art of what they did from the terrible things that they did? It kind of reminds me of this whole thing, like revisionist history, where we're going back and tearing down statues and stuff like that. I know it's not the same, but how do we deal with this? I mean, what's your guys' opinion on this?
That's the tough piece. So to hear that radio stations are not going to play it anymore, some of these big media places are not going to be playing Michael Jackson's music anymore. Everybody knew that these allegations occurred way back when,
right?
And everybody knew that this was a potential issue, and they continued to play the music.
Yep.
Now Michael Jackson's not even here to defend himself, and I'm not saying that I'm on his side either.
Right.
But he's not here to defend himself. Anybody can come out and say anything. I can come out and say that, Michael Jackson did things to me, and really there's absolutely no way to prove it at this point. It's one person's word against another. But to get to your point, Scott, to me, you have to keep Michael Jackson's history of his music and stuff like that, the art, the performance piece, separate from this.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the one thing that gets played in my house music-wise most of the time is like Michael Jackson radio. My wife absolutely loves his music.
Yeah.
But of course, she's not going to condone anything that he did, just as when we were kids, we grew up watching The Cosby Show.
Yep.
And to me, it's still one of the most amazing shows ever.
Yeah.
Just because every single episode, there was a lesson.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you listeners can understand that. There was a lesson with every single episode. So I can't say, well, I'm not going to like Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show anymore, or anything he ever did, or any time he ever made me laugh, or the lessons I've learned from him because of things that he does now.
Yeah.
You have a person and you have a personality. The personality that's within the music or on the show or anything like that. And then you have a person that's behind it. You can not like the person, but that personality that you fell in love with in the first place, to me, you've got to keep that separate.
Derek, what do you think?
So I'm not going to go out and buy Thriller.
No.
Or Bad or whatever. I'm not going to go out there and try to rediscover Michael Jackson. But yes, he has a very, very important place in the history of music. Thriller is the #1 selling album of all time.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
For good reason, because it is an amazing piece of musical creativity.
Yep.
And, the Jackson estate now are the ones who are going to be profiting off, iTunes streaming and Spotify.
Yeah.
Not he himself. All right. And, so we can't really punish him or anything like that. And you got to remember that Michael Jackson was he was a very creative person, but he's not the singular force that went into creating his music.
No.
There are other musicians, other artists, other, engineers, producers, and whatever that went into that. So, to say no more Michael Jackson
right.
would be kind of like, well, somebody, basically did. I'm sure there are tons of people who dedicated their lives to him musically and contributed a lot. Well, but see, what really gets me. Hold on.
It's time for another Derek Tant's Hot Take. That's a perfect spot for it when you say what really gets me.
Yeah, but you don't have to say that that's a perfect spot for it. Just hit the button and let them roll.
Okay,
buddy.
go ahead. It's time for another Derek Tant's Hot Take.
20 years ago, it was super in vogue, like on Saturday Night Live and late shows, to just trash on Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Openly just calling him a pedophile. He was horrible person.
Yes.
You idiots, why are you letting your kids sleep in the same bed as Michael Jackson? Clearly he's like out of his mind. Clearly he's just like on another planet. All right. And so then he makes his comeback. He starts to do tours again. All that kind of falls off. And then he dies.
Yeah.
I think in 2009. And now he's a saint again.
Yeah.
Now untouchable. Everybody seems to like forget about it. And now we bring this back. And yeah, it's so weird because you got people who talk about Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, the whole hashtag Me Too thing.
Yep.
But when they try to talk about Michael Jackson, like if you go into the comment section on YouTube of the trailer of the HBO documentary Finding Neverland, I mean, you will find just tons of rabid Michael Jackson fans who are just like, no, like these guys are documented liars.
Yeah.
This Wade Robson, he was all about Michael Jackson. He was doing the Vegas show. He was going to try to do the Vegas show, but they said no to him.
Yep.
And so that's when all of a sudden, he molested me. So, I mean, they really trash him. It's like
the thing is, at this point in life, I think all the musicians, actors, actresses, not all of them, but a lot of them we follow, you can find something on everybody.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that they're,
not all of them
messing
are
with children or anything. No. But there have been, musicians over the years that, I mean, the band Kiss, Gene Simmons brags about sleeping with thousands of women.
He has apparently he has a book of all the chicks that he slept with.
So that's morally extremely wrong and all that stuff. But are people going to stop listening to Kiss? No, they're not. They're not going to bash Kiss. So all these bands, all these people that are famous, they've all got something. It just hasn't come out, and it may be different for each of us on a moral level if this is wrong or right or whatever the case may be. So it's like me, I try to separate that, just like artists that are on stage, musicians that are on stage, preaching politics, which I hate when they do that.
Which I hate.
I really hate when they do that, but I also want to go, you know what? I'm going to keep the separation between their political views and my love for their music separated, because if I didn't, I would hate a lot of people.
You would be upset. Yes. You'd be like Scott Donnelly. The thing is for me is, look, first of all, why would you want to make these people such an important part of your life? If you're looking up to these people, I mean, it's very difficult. Everybody has their flaws.
Except Dave Grohl. I mean, he's just Dave.
I don't know. I'm sure we could find stuff that's irritating about Dave Grohl, too. But, wait a minute. Had to do that if you're talking about Dave Grohl. Just stop idolizing all these people. They're just people like us. They just are talented people. Stupid.
They've just got a better job than we do.
Michael Jackson is just like us, guys.
Except for we're alive and he's dead.
Yes, he's definitely not.
He's being eaten by worms right now, unless they cremated him. Do you know if they cremated him?
I don't know.
His hair and his fingernails are still growing, though. Isn't that crazy? Anyway.
So if you guys, let's change the subject here.
I was going to say, change subjects. Here we go.
So have you guys seen these videos or seen the stories about, it's all over social media, about parents throwing a slice of cheese at their children's face?
Yeah.
Basically for likes and to get a reaction.
What? Is it video?
Yeah. So what's been going on is a parent will take a piece of cheese,
like a Kraft single, right?
Yeah, just a Kraft single, whatever, and they literally just toss it on their kid's face.
And we're talking about babies, right?
Yeah, usually it's babies in high chairs.
Oh my God.
And the piece of cheese is just hanging off their face, and the parents are recording, waiting for a reaction.
Okay.
Oh crap!
Derek is not happy.
So some of the so stupid. It's like eating Tide Pods. Who would do that? Oh, they looked good. So
Go ahead.
that's exactly right. So some of the parents actually, or some of the children would just sit there stunned, like,
of course.
Oh my gosh, what is on me? Why is there something smashed against my face? And then some of the kids just straight up started bawling and crying, not knowing what's going on. But it's just this weird trend that's going on right now that people are doing it. And then, of course, the psychologists and stuff are getting involved. Like, what does this do long term to your children? Oh, my
gosh. Come on. Do any of them just eat it? Why don't some of them just, cheese, and grab it off their face and start eating it?
I have not seen one yet.
Okay.
Because most kids are in shock.
Okay. Derek, man, do I need to play hot take? It looks like you're about to hot take this. Hold on.
It's time for another Derek Tant's hot take.
Go ahead.
We're living in a post Jimmy Kimmel, reaction to your kids not getting their Halloween candy, world. This is all about that. You want to do something to your kids and post the reaction. So you got to construct some, some weird scenario. Just follow your kids around like when our parents were kids. When we were kids, our parents just had the video camera out,
right,
and just saw what we, just asked us questions or just kind of followed us around in the yard or whatever. Not
no cheese
set
on
up
the
this
face.
Elaborate. Yeah, don't sit. Yeah, sit down and here we go. Let's go. Whack.
I'm just waiting for somebody in Wisconsin to throw like a big wheel of cheese at some kid's face.
That would be funny. Now that would be funny.
That'd be pretty Gouda.
Oh!
Stop it. That was terrible. Don't even give me that.
Okay. So
what does Michael Jackson and throwing cheese or cheese slices have in common?
I don't want to think about it. But
maybe it leaves your face sticky.
Oh, Bob, no.
Okay.
No.
Edit that out.
Bob. No.
Well, cheese can be, if it's sitting on you and melting, it's sticky.
Oh my gosh, Bob. All right. Just try and pretend that Bob did not say that. I'm surprised that there isn't like a major outcry against these parents for doing this. I really am. I'm surprised that it's not everywhere. When people are covering it in the media, are they just like, a new trend where they throw cheese on the baby's face?
No, the media is actually not laughing about it. They're just talking about it like, okay, this is a new trend, yada, yada, yada. But so, you know how extreme outdoorsmen, like they jump off a building, they jump off a cliff, and they do this, and they have to keep going, leveling it up to get that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Is this what's going to happen with these kids? And, throwing cheese, then they're going to start throwing, biscuits, and then they're going to start throwing cars.
It's basically idiocracy, isn't it?
It is pretty stupid.
It is dumb.
I don't know. Do biscuits and cars stick to your face?
I don't know.
No, but you just never know. Biscuits would stick to your face if it had honey on it.
Or if it was not cooked yet, like just flat dough.
British biscuits. What about British biscuits, which are basically just cookies?
Yeah, cookies.
Or crackers.
Tea and
Sorry,
biscuits.
I know that because I like to watch the Great British Bake Off.
Yes, he does. If you like to watch the big British Bake Off?
The Great British
Bake Off. If you like to watch that, do us a favor. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit us on Facebook. And when you're watching this on YouTube, click the like button. It doesn't hurt anything. Just like it.
Or the dislike button.
Yeah, you could hit dislike because I knew Derek would somehow turn it into not liking us.
Something negative.
Yes. Yeah. Put us down. Say stuff to us. Give us comments on YouTube or Facebook. And tell your friends about the show. It's not going to hurt anything. In fact, it's going to be wonderful. It's a great idea. So subscribe, go to Facebook, like our Facebook page. Man, I'm giving you a lot of homework. And tell your friends about it. That's it. Derek, any last thoughts?
Nope.
That's great. You sure you don't have anything else to say?
Fresh pods.
Yes.